So in this video, we're going to attempt to load a high scores list into our game. So the idea is maybe at the beginning of the game, we ask the user to enter their name, and then we play the game, and then they get a score. And then what we can do is save that name to a high score list and then display that list at the end and have it sorted correctly as well. So this is going to be a two-part process. And in this video, we're just going to see how to take a text file, which I've got here called high scores, and then load that data into our game and display this data. I've actually just made up some names right at the beginning. So in Windows, you could press New and then just select a text document. On a Mac, I think if you go to your project folder and perhaps right-click, there's probably the option to create a new text file. And then I made one called high scores. So if I open that, yeah, I just made up some names, and then underneath is their high score. Okay. And later in the next video, we're going to see how we can add a new name to this list in the game, and then you can sort the data and then have a kind of this growing list of high scores. And then I suppose you could cap it off at 10 or 5 or whatever you'd like. Okay, so when you create that text file, and if you're using BlueJ, you'll see that the text file appears here just for kind of quick access in your project window. So you can click on it and view that text file. Okay, so then before I show you the Brick Breaker game, I'm going to show you one thing that I created. I made a new class called Player, and a player is just going to have a score and a name. Okay, so the constructor for player will be a string n and an int s for name and score. And then I am making accessors and mutators. And then I have a toString that just returns the name followed by a space followed by the score. Okay, so what I want to do is in my Brick Breaker game, I want to read in all of these high scores, and I'm going to create player objects for each name and score in this. And that will make it easier to, we could create an array list of players, and then we could easily sort it. And then we can save it back to this text file. So then when we turn off our game and open it again, we can actually load in all this updated data. All right, so so go and create this player class. And then in your Brick Breaker game, we need all of these import statements. Okay, the first 3 are for the file access to open up the text file. And then I've imported array list as well. Okay, so then in my variables here, so this is at the class level. So I'm not inside any method. I'm just at the class level. I've created these 3 variables. So an input file of type file, input of type scanner, and then I made an array list of player objects, and I called it high score list. Okay. Then in the constructor, in the try statement, you have to put this in the try statement just in case this thing is not found, kind of similar to the images that we loaded in. So this is the name of my text file. And again, this will only work if this text file is saved in the same location, the same folder as your project. So I'm going to load that file into input file, and then I'm going to assign input equal to a new scanner object, and input file will be the parameter. Okay, so then I have a while loop. Again, this is still in my constructor. And we're going to say while input, again, that's the file we're dealing with, while this has more data. Okay, so while input dot has next. So as long as this is true, we're going to input the next line. So what this does is it reads all the data on the first line as a string, and we're going to store that into a string called name. Then this automatically goes to a new line. So it kind of goes to the next line in the text file. And what I'm going to do here is read in that next line And then I'm going to convert it to an int. So you can't cast a string to an int, but you can parse it to an int, and you do it this way. I thought this would work by just saying input dot next int. I thought that worked with the scanner class, but apparently it wasn't working. I was getting an error. Yeah. Oh, I have another bracket. Let's try that again. Yeah, so I get no errors here, but when I ran it, I think it didn't like it. Let's see. Yeah. So for some reason it was crashing at that point. Um, hmm. Okay, so I fixed that by just reading this in as a string. I'm just going to undo it here and then parsing it to an int. Okay, so this is actually a useful command to know. So if you ever have a string that is a number, you can kind of remove the double quotes by parsing it to an int. Okay, then I'm going to add to my array list. So I have this empty array list. I'm going to add a new player object with name as the name and the score as the score. Okay, so this is put inside a loop, and this is going to keep going until we're at the end of the file. So it's just going to build an array list of players. Okay, and then we're going to close the file. Okay, then we want to display the list. What I'm going to do is just run my program and show you what mine looks like. It's not the greatest, and I'd like you to make yours better than mine. But basically, I can play the game. Oh, and I also I have not coded the winning of the game yet. That's something I'll leave as an exercise for you. So when all the bricks are cleared, but I did add some code to end the game. So if the ball misses the paddle, the ball is going to stop, and then I'm displaying my high score list. So this is directly from that text file. I'm just printing the array list values from that text file. So just two things here. How did I get the ball to stop when it hit the ground? Well, in the ball class, if you go to the move method, when the game is over, so if y plus size, so that's the bottom of the ball, hits the bottom of my screen, then I'm going to readjust y, just so you can see the ball sitting at the bottom. And then I'm going to change dy and dx to 0, so the ball is not moving. All right. And then in my main Brick Breaker game here, if you look to my, right here, in my draw game screen, so this is where my game actually happens. I'm drawing my background, I'm moving my ball, drawing my paddle, checking for collisions with all the bricks and the paddle, and then I added this code here. So if ball.getDX is 0 and ball.getDy is 3, then move to screen 3. Okay, so you could draw like a whole, a you lose screen. You could have AI to draw your graphic if you'd like. But then if I go up to the paint, I'm saying else if screen is 3, then draw lose screen. Okay, so right now my draw lose screen is just drawing all these scores from high score list. Okay, so it's a void method. I'm setting the color to white, and then I'm just drawing a little title, high scores. Okay, so this is a method that's built in called drawString. So it will draw this string with at this position. So x is 500 and y is 400. Okay, so the top is 0, 0, so it goes 500 to the right and 400 down. Then I've built a loop here, actually a for each loop. So for each player P in high score list, I'm going to draw an empty string plus P. Now, what does this do? This calls the toString method for that player. Now, I tried just putting P here, and it actually doesn't work because this is not a string. It's a player object. So we have to put a little empty string here to concatenate to P. So this is going to call the toString method. So this should give me the name and the score. And then I want to draw it at an X value of 500. And then the Y position is going to be a variable that increases by 20 pixels each time, just in order to move it down to a new line. Okay, and then I set the original Y position to 420. You can make this text bigger by saying g.set_font, new font, and then you put 3 parameters in. You put your font, okay, Arial, Comic Sans, Times New Roman, whatever fonts are installed on your computer, you can use. Then you have to say font.bold or italic or plain. Okay, so you've got 3 options there. I'm just going to say plain right now. And this is a constant value inside the font class, so you need to put all caps here. Then you put the size of the font. So let's try 30. Might be too big. Let's see here. Oh, and then I'm going to have to change this. Maybe I'll change this to 440 and change this to 40 because I have changed my font size to 30. Okay, let's just see how this looks. Compile and run. Okay, and then I'm going to lose. Okay, that's much better. So it's easier to read. So again, you can choose to just print these values on your game screen, or you could make a brand new kind of wallpaper here saying you lose. Or you could, if they get a high score, like if they make it to the list, then you could have some congratulations screen, whatever you want. So this is step 1, and we're going to end the video here. This is simply just reading in the text file, just making a connection with the text file and putting that data into your game. In the next video, we're going to see how we can enter our name as a new player, and then adding up the score. Every time we hit a brick, we get a point, and then adding our name to that text file, and then displaying our new name here. So we'll do that in the next video. Okay, so we'll see you then.